morning, legends and super legends. Over here. Got a few minutes, so I have to roll out. We got one guy in our group is not well today, so he's not going to show up, Alan. And then Christian has something else going on, so I think it's only going to be Paul. So we're going to head out, maybe go more westerly today before we go north. Take a little different route. So I'm wearing the Rafa Aero Pro Team Aero jersey here. I tried to pick out a color with the sock. I think I got close. But taking a gimbal with me. So hope you guys get a chance to get out and get some clips for you today. And so I'm going to go ahead and get ready. Not really sure what happened with this clip, but for some reason it recorded no sound. And, it's a glitch, I guess. From time to time it happens with the GoPro Hero 5 Black, I guess. I'm not sure if it's specific to the Black, but I did some research that indicated it may have been. But the second frame, everything was back to normal, so I'm not really sure what the issue was. Anyway, it's not that big a deal. I do like the sound in there, even though the wind has to be dubbed down in post, but it's kind of good to have. But heading out to hook up with Paul, and since it's Paul, chances are I figure we'll be doing at least 4 hours. But today is a day for a workout, so join me while we go and hook up with Paul to start this ride. And the sound returns right after I meet Paul. Everything's back to normal. So it's just for this intro. Kids are getting ready for September 11th. That's what they're putting the flags in the ground for. So right here I see the flashing light from Paul's bike, so I do a U-turn. And he must have been psychic because he's wearing pink and I'm wearing pink. So we're matching today.
That's where that clicks.
Today's ride, the focus primarily for me was to work on strength,
All right.
muscular endurance, and basically just steady speed. So that was the focus for me.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Right here we're still warming up, keeping my cadence above 90. It's a very cool morning. You can see it's 15C. That's in the 60s, which is unseasonably cool for us. But we'll take it. Low humidity, just nice and crisp. Beautiful day outside. There's a lot of wind. We're getting wind from the northeast. More from the east than anything. Just really stiff. We're headed north right now.
Yeah.
We'll start rotating to the front the rest of the ride. Stay up as long as we want. Get up there. We just keep the pace on going.
I'm having breakfast, eating my banana. And I'm using this wall to shield me from the wind. The wind's coming from our right. That way I can do my hands free. It's still a little tricky, but right now I'm in zone 1, and well, my heart rate says do zone 1, but my legs are probably feeling like zone 2. I don't know, maybe they're just tired. So I worked out hard this week. But the temperature is so nice. I mean, below 70 degrees to start in September here. That's amazing for us. Check. It's a 3-way. It's clear. Paul Road. You can hear that wind. We're going straight into the wind. And I don't know if it's because of the temperature that my heart rate is staying low, because my cadence is up. Normally it should be in the 140s. So most of the ride, it ended up being 10 to 15 beats below what I usually see in the summer. So I have a feeling it's probably the weather. That's one reason why you can't depend on heart rate alone. because I am not riding in zone 1 right now. I mean, 28 kilometers an hour into the wind. This is a slight grade. It's not easy, so it should not be 131. I noticed that, and I just decided to ignore it and pay attention to my legs. What I want to mention, I kept most of the clips here. I did not do a whole lot of editing because I've got a lot of comments on the site. One of them from Cal Cycling. He said that he's having trouble when he rides. He stops a lot. He can't pedal continuously. I replied to him stating that it starts with a fit. I mean, you should be able to pedal the whole time you're on the bike. If you find yourself stopping frequently when you're pedaling, something's off. Saddle's not comfortable, shoes are not comfortable, ergo you're fit.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be thinking about pedaling, it should just happen. When I'm out there, I'm not thinking about pedaling, I just ride, listening to the wind, the smells of being outdoors. And look at that sunrise, it's beautiful. Look how the camera captured the burst of the rays from the sun. That's just so nice. Produces a silhouette. We're going slightly downhill. It says 0%, but I think it's slightly downhill. It felt like it. Yeah, there you go. -1. It's just a slight downhill. Well, you see -0. Yeah, I don't even know why they have a -0. Might as well be a flat road. But you should be able to spin like you see me doing. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're doing 65 RPMs or 110. You shouldn't be moving too much on the bike. It should just be your legs. And there are better shots where I will point these out because this ride, I was focusing on using larger gears, lower cadences. You know, I mixed it up. There were times like right now I'm warming up with high cadence. You always want to do that. Get the blood flowing to the muscles.
Good?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Okay.
I'm good.
I'm just checking on Paul, making sure he's okay. I'm out of the saddle, rolling the gear. This is a slight grade here. And you can see how I sat with one motion. And then look at how I'm pedaling. My hips are not rocking. I'm not reaching for the bottom of the pedal. That's the key. That's why people rock. Saddle's too high, you will rock to try to reach. You cheat, you lean over, but it's biomechanically inefficient. This guy signaled, so I turned. So I was watching him the whole time. I wasn't sure he was going to go across or not. Even though you have the right of way, you got to watch those people. Sometimes they don't see you or they do crazy stuff. I mean, the ride after this ride on Sunday, Alan and I was riding and some genius decides he must pass in our lane. I'm not sure where he was going on Sunday morning at 7, something that was so important. And it's usually the people who can least afford it that act stupid. So we just went on with the ride. We didn't let it bother us. We held our position and he was forced to move over, and I guess he didn't like it. He'll get over it. He doesn't like it, don't use the roads. Driving is not a right, it's a privilege. You don't like driving, don't drive. They act like they're mad when they're in those cars. When I get on my bike, I'm happy. So this guy was running, I just decided to stop and then he sees us. So now we roll. I'm staying in a big gear. I'm in like a 53, 19 or 17, and I'm not doing a whole lot of shifting on purpose. Look at my cadence.
Go by.
60s climbing. So Paul comes by to take the lead. And we basically switched the camera, and you can't even tell because of the Removu S1. The stabilizer works. So If you look at Paul, I did his fit. You can see how smooth he is. His hips are not rocking. His body is not moving. You can generate more power. You're relaxed and you just use your legs to drive the gears. Any other movement is wasted. Unless you're standing and pulling on the bars, the upper body should just float and rest on the bars like a feather. If you have too much weight on your bars, your setup is off. Invest in your fit. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Just fitted a rider last week. He's been riding for more than 10 years and never had a fit. And his saddle was sloping down. It was too high. He sloped it down to accommodate, to make up for a saddle that was set too high. So he was sliding into the bars. The tape on his bars were chewed up on top. The drops looked like it was brand new. And that's the sign. You know? So I give Paul the camera there. I'm feeling good this morning, so I decided I'm going to sit at the front longer and just drive the pace. I decided to head to Ridge Lake Shores. So your motion on the bike should be pretty much limited to your legs, your pistons, especially when you're in the saddle. We're going into the wind here. I cannot really explain why my heart rate is staying in zone 1. It's trying to creep into zone 2 there. I don't know why, because it's not easy. We're doing 37 kilometers an hour. Even though it says slight downhill, the wind makes up. I move over because I saw a car back there and I waved him out. This is a narrow road here. Nobody else coming. I'm gonna do a video. I put on the list. I'm gonna do a video about how to look behind without swerving. You guys notice I'm looking back and I hold my line. It's a skill you have to practice. Many riders look behind and they swerve. You should be able to look behind without your line changing. There's a particular little cheat skill that I was taught many years ago that worked for me. And once I got comfortable, I didn't need it. So this is kind of like, what is it, 45 minutes into the ride, and we're in the ride now. Beautiful sunshine, just a clear day, 15C, just beautiful. I think it's about 65, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Oh, I was off. That's 59. Wow. I didn't know it went below 60. 59. I wonder if it felt so dry. I had to remind myself to drink. Even though it's cool, you still have to drink. Now, the problem with me during the winter, when I drink, my body does not use the fluids as much as it does in the summer. So I have to be real cautious not to drink too much, and I got to stop for a health break frequently. Care for that.
Huh?
I was telling Paul the light was supposed to change because I saw the other side go yellow. It just stayed on long enough to where we had it on clip. You guys can see I clip in one time, my foot's in. I practiced that for many years. wore the pig socks, and you can see the visibility as my legs move up and down. That's all you see. Stand here to roll the gear. There's a lot of debris. Sometimes I'm tempted to stop and pick up that thing and throw it. It's been there for weeks. I don't know. The sweeper just hadn't made it out. Long before the floods came. The flood had nothing to do with that. This bridge is so high it was not impacted. This is Spring Creek that we're going over. So I asked Paul to come up. Try to avoid the debris. Let me switch. I get the camera. And he proceeds to pull us. You guys can see how smooth Paul is on the bike. His fit is night and day than the fit he had. He tried, he went many places. And when I worked with him, he actually suggested that I start the channel because I answered all his questions, and he was like, I've taken this bike everywhere. All they wanted me to do was buy saddles and buy this. They tried to correct an uncomfortable saddle for Paul by suggesting that he buy a cushier saddle, which ends up actually making the saddle height even higher when there's more material on the saddle. So I'm not going to mention the name of the store because I don't think it's fair to the store. I think it's the people that he ran into. So now we got that sorted. So Paul's saddle was 5 centimeters too high when I met him a couple years ago. That's almost, that's like 2 shoe sizes. I don't know how he rode the bike. So it's clear he loves riding bikes, 'cause that would make most people quit. He said everything hurt. Saddle was high, stem was short, because they try to compensate for an overly high saddle by giving him a shorter stem than his extension of his arms needed. We have people asking, some legends wanted to know the signals that you use when you're riding. I mean, well, there are no rules. It's just a matter of alerting somebody, mostly non-verbally where possible. You can see Paul using his hands. It's very effective to do non-verbal stuff because when you do it verbally and it's windy and we can't understand you, by the time we get the information to comprehend it, it's too late to use for the most part. Avoid yelling unless you're just trying to get someone to react to some emergency. If it's just regular stuff, point to it. Use gestures. Like here, I point left. I check, it's clear, I point left. You notice I look back a couple of times, my line didn't change. And I pointed to the middle of the road so Paul would see those cracks. When you're in front, you got to alert the riders behind. We use the same rules like you would do in a car where you put your palm down to say you're stopping and so forth.
We'll figure out what that clicking is, but mechanically the bike is fine. Okay. Maybe just the cool weather got to
The bikes started clicking this morning. Paul's bike had a clunk sound. Couldn't figure out what it was. That's the thing with noises on the bike. It's one of my things on the list to try to find a way to deal with it, because hundreds of things can cause one noise. So you can't just assume it's any one thing. I think it's his cassette, because that was the only thing he's been adjusting recently. So we're going to start with that. And that's the way you want to do it. There's a noise. You got to say, okay, what did I work on last on the bike? So we're headed north here. There seems to be wind just all directions. The Hero 5 Black is set up for wind only, meaning that it dubs down the wind anyway, but I still need to lower it in post-production. So here, I'm still in the same gear. I'm basically not doing a whole lot of shifting. My heart rate is in zone 1. We're rolling on a slight downhill. The wind's coming from our right, and I think somewhat in our face, but it's mostly from the right. The temperature is still nice. I didn't realize it had gotten that low overnight. I'm basically just driving the gear here. It says 0, but it's really rolling into a hill. I have to see whether we're actually on the grade. It says -0, slight downhill. So this terrain rolls, but you can feel the grade most of the time. There's a slight grade here, and then the hill really bite. You can see the hill right there. Right here I start to power the gear. I'm putting a lot of force in it. Look at my cadence, 60s. I'm working on strength. This is how you build muscular strength on the bike. And if you watch, I'm putting a lot of force into the gear, but I'm not all over my bike. I'm just using my legs, same form. This is weight training on the bike. If you like working out with weights, go to the gym. I like to build my strength on the bike. So now after the climb lesson, you can see I just pull away. I didn't even shift. I just turned the gear a little faster than 60 RPMs. And my cadence is just going up. And I think knowing Paul, he's probably spinning a smaller gear. So he had to shift up. So I did that because that was a short climb. And it's something I'm comfortable doing. I know how long I need to recover from it. But don't try to do that in a group ride and burn your legs and then you have nothing left. Do it when you're by yourself. There's another 2% grade. So I like this terrain here. You can see I'm powering the gear. And all I'm doing is, as I put more force into the pedals, I relax my upper body even more. That's why my legs look like they're kicking. I'm in a 53.19 or something like that. It's not a monster gear or anything, but with a 4% climb, it's pretty big. And you don't want to do this if you've had knee problems or your fit is not correct, your pedals and your cleats are not lined up, because you can injure your knee. road continues to go up here. You can see I'm still carrying a big gear up this slight grade. I think it's like 0.7. My cadence is 62. I'm probably in a 53.17 at this time. And I just wanted to make my legs feel like I'm doing leg presses. But this exercise is more specific for cycling, and for me it's more efficient. I don't get bulky. I build the strength I need for riding the bike.
You got that thing down pat.
Yeah.
We hit Ridge Shores subdivision, and you can hear the wind. We're headed east, and it is blowing. And this thing is dubbed down already electronically. You can hear it whistling when I turn the camera. This is the wind we've been dealing with. So we got a northeasterly flow, mostly easterly flow for the most part.
Good morning. Good morning.
You can see my jersey, even though it's very tight, you can see it flapping a little bit when the wind gusts. That's another reason for having a kit that fits your body properly. But you can see at the top of my shoulder, there's a bit. So it didn't really matter which direction we turn into. There seemed to be wind everywhere, which is kind of par for the course around here. Everything's exposed. So we're going up this grade. Once again, I keep my cadence low. I get a big gear. I'm getting my workout for my legs. I'm building my muscle strength on the bike. Doing cycling specific leg strength workout, muscular endurance. You can see my cadence in the 40s. The grade on this thing kicked in quickly, and I really wasn't ready for it. So, but I just muscled through it. There's a car there. I waved him through the stop sign. It's a 4-way stop sign. And then here, we lost all that momentum because this is a climb. And now I don't want to shift. I want to finish the workout. So my legs are burning, but I know it'll pay off. It doesn't take me too long to recover from these kind of efforts. So by the time we crest the hill, I should be good. So you kind of have to know yourself and know how much time you need if you're doing this with other people.
I tell you what, when the load's on the bike, no squeaking. Yeah. I'll check my cassette too.
So that kind of workout, the heart rate does not play that much of a factor. It's mostly the muscles. The cadence is so low, you're taxing your muscular system, not your aerobic system. You have to be able to do all of that to roll a big gear, to maintain high speed. You see Paul smoothly comes around. I think think we switched camera here. I'm not sure. Yeah, we did. He picked up the camera. Yeah, you shouldn't have to stop when you're pedaling. If you're stopping, that's because the body is uncomfortable. It's making you stop so you can shift and get from that uncomfortable spot. You can hear the wind. We're headed west, and we still got the wind. You would think it would be perfectly behind us. It's swirling around because I think the front is blowing, just getting into town. Got a reinforcement of cool air because 59 for a low. That's amazing. So you can see my fit, guys. That's how you're supposed to look on your bike. It should be one with your body. You should be able to turn your legs at any cadence. You can see all the muscular workout I've been doing. I'm up in the mid 90s with no problems. In fact, that's how you want to do it. You do your muscular endurance and go back to your regular cadence when you're done. I'm working on some training plans for a couple of super legends. With the flood, I was a little behind and stuff, so I'm gonna get caught up. I'm a Lion Pride people. So here I'm muscling this gear again. Cadence is 70. And I'm just making sure that my form stays smooth. If you're riding with people and they're arching their back or they're scooting up when they go hard, that's a clear indication their fit is not right. You shouldn't have to move to ride. You should already be in the position you need to be in. So here I check three-way T stop sign. This is where our climb is. I let Paul know we're rolling. Just beautiful, beautiful road here. You can hear the wind. We're going south. Of course, the wind's coming from our left. You can hear that thing blowing. This guy's on his lawnmower. Those things are loud. This lady that we would pass her coming the opposite way as well. So she was doing a good workout. She's covering some ground. You can see the climb in the distance. It may say -1 here, but I think the climb pretty much begins here. Right here, you're climbing. It's 0% because until it hits 1%, it does not register the digital percentages on the overlay. Like my computer will show me a 0.7. The overlay only does integers. So now the hill begins to kind of kick in a little bit. It says 2%. I think it's more than that. And if you watch, I'm muscling the big gear, my body position stays the same. I check for traffic. We're going straight, nothing's here. Stand up to keep that gear rolling. That's the key. I didn't want to shift. So the kind of body type I have, if I spend a lot of time in the big gears after a while, it's as if to say, I haven't been riding the big gear and I will show you guys on the return leg when we start to head back home. After spending the first part of the ride in these gears, all of a sudden I just started rolling them. Checked it was clear. Motioned to Paul. I was carrying a lot of speed, so I kind of used the whole road because nothing was coming. You guys notice that I stick my knee out. The knee really helps in keeping that bike leaned over, and then I put weight on the opposite leg to keep traction on the tire. So I didn't shift or anything. I just spin the gear a little faster when the road lessens, the grade lessens. And these are the signals that Laura 8 mentioned, you know, can you do a video about the signals? I think you can get more from the rides here. Because all you're doing is making sure you alert the people that are in the group with you. Timely. This is a little bit of a downhill here. The guy's on his lawnmower.
What happens when you sit around loud noise for too long? It hurts your eardrum.
So this grade kicks in right here. I decided to just stand instead of sitting like I did the first time we came around here.
I turn my little man.
Talking about the lawnmower, I have a John Deere and it's noisy. John Deere LA 1, I think it's 115 or whatever, entry level.
Yeah.
Does a good job, it's just loud. I was telling him that the guy we passed didn't have any ear protection on, I think, anyway. I didn't notice any. So Paul didn't want too much to do with the front today because I think he wanted to do a lot of the filming. Plus, and depending on how his week goes, sometimes he just, you know, takes it a little easier and sits in. I don't mind. I like the fact that he's with me to film so that we can take you guys with us on our ride. So once he told me he was okay that time when I asked, I just figured I'll just sit up here and let him film.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go left here. We usually go straight.
Go left. Okay. Go back this way. Usually go straight.
Yeah.
Adjusting that shoe because I modified the strap. It's one of the first shoes that Giro made in that style a few years ago, and they made the strap very short. So I bought an additional Velcro and added it to it. And for some reason, it just wasn't sitting right. I kept messing with it. You see there, I see that deer. There's a deer herd on the right. I got out of the way because they're crazy. They can jump in your way. They're just hanging out.
I forgot. I should have got those. Did you see those deer?
I was telling Paul that we got him. We got the camera will pick him up.
Yeah.
2.7
Yeah.
So the resolution, it's not those two. They're right there.
Yeah, in
Pixel
1080p
Sweet.
it's hard to
Coming
get.
down the hill.
Man,
They were close enough. We got
Yeah.
a good shot.
come down this way. That's cool.
Man. Yeah, I hope we got this view in there.
I think we did. We can check it at the stop. Do we have a? I think we have a car back. Car back.
And this is the part of the ride where it gets really interesting, where all the work I've been doing with muscular endurance, I'm going to put it together
Go left.
and increase cadence later.
We'll hand it to you.
And I wanted to walk you guys through my thought process and how you should consider training if you want to go faster. So I've been pushing 53, 17, 53, 19 up the hill. Now I think I'm sitting in like a 53, 21 or 19 right here. Now we're going home. This is a major road, so it's pretty busy. So I'm giving Paul the camera here and get on to the business of riding. So now you look at my cadence. It's in the 70s. The trick is, as soon as we turn on this highway, this is a 4% grade right where you see that car. And right here I begin to just feel it. And the key is that I just kept downshifting. The shifter's right there. Why not use it? I don't understand why people don't shift. You see that 3%? It's actually 4.4 or something like that. So it bites. If you don't shift, you get bogged down. Look at my cadence, 68, 69. I did not want to shift. So we got the wind coming from the left and in our face. They're constructing an additional 2 lanes, and it's going to end up being a boulevard. I think it'll be really, really nice when they're done. I hope they don't lessen the grade, because that side looks lower than this one. You can see my cadence is creeping up now. Upper 80s. After getting over that percent, now we got a little 1%. So this thing is a bunch of rollers. So I want you to just pay attention now. My cadence is in the upper 80s. And I'm kind of getting into some kind of a rhythm here. Even my heart rate's coming back up to where it should be. 153, I don't know. That's zone 3. That's about right. I don't think I'm going that hard yet. So you can see we're going, the wind is coming from the left and slightly in our face. But for some reason it just seemed to be swirling around. It's a bit of a descent here. Yeah, it says -1. That's a little bit. So I'm using my cadence, same gear, just turning it faster. Because of the wind, I'm treating this like I'm climbing, and I'm going to keep my cadence in the 80s wherever possible, and just take what the conditions give me, and not try to force anything. So now you can see my cadence is climbing here. Right here, the road's going up again. It says 0, but it's going up. It's point something. It may register here 1 or 2%, but it's going up. Yeah, it says 1. It's up and down rollers. You can see in the distance there. So being able to ride at 85, 75, whatever, and also higher RPMs. You can see I'm going downhill without shifting. I just spin the same gear faster. What that does is reminds my muscles that even though I was doing slow cadences earlier, don't get too used to that. So now the road opens up here. I just decided to stay there anyway. I'm on a groove. The wind's coming from the left. Paul has enough room. And now we're beginning to really roll. You can see our speeds. This is a flat road with wind, crosswind mostly. I think it's a cross tail / head. It's just swirling around. But mostly from the left. It was blowing so much to where I felt like I had a flat tire from time to time, but it was just the wind blowing the tire. You can hear it. I mean, I've lowered the volume in post and the camera muted it, and it still is significant. So you can see now my cadence is in the 90s. That wind is picking up, and you can see every time it would blow, my cadence would go down a little bit, and I would just apply a little more force to keep it there. So we're cruising around, let's see, right now 20 miles an hour. We're cruising at 35, which is about 21 or 21, 22, about 22. So now picked up the pace. It was a slight downhill. The wind kind of abated slightly, and I started feeling better. And now we're at 36 kilometers an hour, approaching zone 4. About within 6 beats of zone 4. So this is more of a tempo ride right now. I don't like to spend too much time in tempo. So I'm ramping it up. We're on a groove here. We're moving now. The wind's coming from the left. It's swirling around. You can see, if you look at my jersey, my middle pocket, looks like you can see the wind blowing it a little bit. It's out here. I'm in the drops, just keeping myself aero. At this point, I'm not sure. I wasn't aware until I was doing this edit that Paul had flipped the camera around. I was just riding, and I think he's checking. Yeah, so now he comes by. I was trying to figure out what he was doing, because I was thinking this is not easy. What is he doing? I immediately took shelter. If you want to give me a break, I'll take the break.
No, I just want to film that part. Keep going.
Okay. So he just wanted to film. I thought he was going to pass the camera. So I resumed, got back to the front, get back into my rhythm. You can see that little break behind Paul. My heart rate went down about 13 beats, because I was at 157. So the draft works. And now I got back to the front. It's going to climb back up over time. I'm staying in the drops, which helps me slice through the wind. I'm wearing that aero jersey. I knew it was going to be windy today, because we had a northerly front come in that lowered the temperatures. So you can see it was staying steady in the upper 30s, even though this wind's swirling around, and cadence is climbing a little bit, 90. That's pretty average. That's not bad. So I'm bringing it back up. I'm done with the muscular stuff, because there's a hill coming up, and I'll ride it. just staying in the big chain ring. And that should give me the workout I need there. But down here, I figure let's ramp it up a little bit. So at this point, the wind's picking up more. You can see my heart rate starting to climb. I want to get it into zone 4, or the bottom of zone 4. So I figure by the time we get to the climb that's coming up, there's a climb coming up over the bridge, and it's about at least 3 miles, I'm thinking. Now here it is, we're climbing. The wind's, I saw my heart rate climbing. The wind's picking up tremendously. I'm keeping the effort the same. Now my heart rate is just entering the bottom of, staying in zone 3. So at this point, it's close enough to the sweet spot, so I figured I'll just roll. And I was feeling good, so I stayed in the drop. This light changes. I told Paul we're going. We're already in the intersection, so it's better to just roll. So you have good momentum. So almost 3 hours into this ride. 36 kilometers an hour is about, let's see, 17, 21, 22 into the wind. About 22 miles an hour. And around here, in a little while, we get a couple of village idiots that act like they're late for a fire. There's idiot number 1 and idiot number 2. And when they get pulled over, they want to give the cops attitude. If I were a cop, I'd hit them with a nightstick too. Idiots. This is a creek called Lake Creek, and yeah, it was impacted, but it did not really do any damage. It's not one of the ones that were impacted by the Conroe release. Because of the construction out here in Texas, when they have construction, the fines for traffic is like double. That's the reason why people take it easy down here. Those 2 morons over there acting like they're late for a fire. So right here, the grade kicks in. You can see it says 2%. I think it gets to like 4 point something. Now, I continue to shift down. I stay in the big chain ring, and I put it in a 53-23. That's the gear before my largest cog in the back. The 25, I did not want to cross chain. Ideally, I would ride the 25 and spin it, and I figured I would stay in the 23. I can handle the gear, but I wanted to keep the tempo the same, because once we're through this hilly section, I wanted to be able to ramp it up instead of changing my rhythm too much. So that's the key. You got to be thinking about what you're planning on doing, and what you'd like to do the whole time you're riding. So I'm letting Paul know there was some gravel on the road. I hate riding through gravel. More gravel. So what I do is I move a little over to the white line there, like there. Because the gravel's washing from the driveway of his homes. Because they didn't pave their driveway, which I think is cool. They just put those rocks there. And, the rain washes them on the road. Because of the construction, they lowered the speed limit here in a construction zone when workers are present. you got to really watch your speed, because if you're stopped, it's going to be expensive. Because some of the workers have gotten killed over the years trying to build roads by the very people they're building the roads for. That's the reason they're very particular about it. You know, if the workers are present and you're speeding and you're caught, yeah, you're gonna be shelling out some dough. Did make you pay. So. But generally, you know, on this road, people behave themselves. I think this is Montgomery County, and they don't play. So the limit on this road is 35. You know, I always say that the speed limit is the limit. It is not a suggested speed. You can drive under it, but it's the limit. So anytime you go over it, you're breaking the law and you're a criminal. So when you get pulled over, don't get an attitude. You know, suck it up and pay the fine. You have the right to break the law. Anyway, back to cycling. So here, the road's getting a little wider. The shoulder's nice and wide. I was dodging some mud over there. And right here now, my cadence is going up. This is where it's a flat road out of the slight rollers in a construction zone. And so I'm picking up the pace just slightly. The wind is still out here. You look at my middle pocket on my jersey, you can see the wind getting to it. Because I don't have anything in there. It's blowing it. I think debris on the road, I'm letting Paul know. So now you can see my speed has picked up to 35 kilometers an hour. It's about 21. And what I do here is I just continue to increase the speed via increasing my cadence. So now you see 35 back, it's 34, 35. I'm just letting the speed come. I'm not fighting the bike. Same form, doesn't matter whether I'm doing 90 RPM or 65. And I'm in the drops because the wind is everywhere. I want to get the maximum speed. I'm watching that car on the right. Made all contact with him. Move on through. Those are the people. Those are the things you watch. The ones that can get in your way. You gotta make sure they see you. See now my speed is 37 kilometers an hour. I mean, we're moving pretty fast here. I just wanted to mention that you guys can see my speed changing without my body changing on the bike. You just see the speed changing. You can't really tell. So now at 38 kilometers an hour, the wind is even more vicious, but at this point, I'm not even paying attention to the wind because I'm down in the drops. I lowered my torso, and I'm just trying to keep my head out of the wind, but I got to look up every now and then. And when I put my head down, it seems like I go a little quicker, but you know, I don't want to get too low to where I can't pedal properly. So now look at this, 39 kilometers an hour, 40 kilometers an hour. There's a light coming up, so I take this lane, and I tell Paul we're going. I start to ramp it up. The light ends up changing. let him know we're not gonna make it.
Yeah. Notice. That was good.
So Paul liked that one. He was having fun there.
Let's have fun.
So this is Flint Ridge. We're heading homebound. And right before we turn on the camera, one of those on your left guys had passed. And it's somebody we'd met before. We introduced ourselves. I told him about the channel. You know, we never heard from him since then. Somebody that was riding solo. And so at the time, Paul and I were just chatting. After that stretch back there that you guys saw, we stopped at the store, stocked up our bottles, and now we're on the way home. So I decided, why don't we just go ahead and see if we can close up on him, just to see. So that's what you see here. He's down the road. He's not that far down the road. We can see him. He's probably about half a mile down the road. I decided we'd just close the distance and see what happens when we actually get into the hills. Right here is just flat to downhill. But still with this wind, you have to work. So I continue to just keep the pace, 21 to 22 thereabouts, as much as possible. And just see what that yields, because this wind is not playing. I had told Paul to stay close. If you notice, he's real close. I told Paul stay close because when we get into the hills, you're gonna need your energy that you save here. So that's what it's about. So he's staying very close. So the key is that besides your saddle, your feet needs to fit properly, meaning your cleats. Because your cleats lock you into a particular position. So here, the wind is picking up tremendously. The road starts to go up a little bit. That's why the speed is at 31. I'm not fighting the bike. I'm just gonna rolling because we've got hills coming up after this intersection. And then I see him at the light. He just pulled over there on the right. So he really wasn't that far. I'm talking 4 car lengths of that. Now we get to the light here.
Yep.
There he is on the right. And he's standing in the wrong spot. I mean, you're standing over there. If you're going straight, that's not where you need to be. So this guy needs to turn right, and he's waiting because he doesn't know where this guy is going. If he could have gone in the left lane, this guy would be gone. So the driver was waiting for him because of his position. This light is short. So now all I do here is I get very arrow. And look at my heart rate. It says 143. It's gonna keep dropping. So right there, I'm just keeping the same tempo. There he is. So we spot him. I just decided I'm just going to hold the same effort and we'll see whether he slows down. reaching for a gel because I decide I'm gonna go ahead and top off my gas tank so that when we catch him, I can ramp it up a little bit. So that's that sports. I think it's sports in science or science in sports. SIS. I like it because you don't have to drink water with it. It goes to work right away. I think it's science in sports. Some of the other drinks you have to drink water for them to get absorbed in your system. So I see him down there. I'm like, okay. And then another thing he's doing, he's riding on this edge. And this edge around here is kind of rough and uneven. So he's riding on it for a while and he's coming back on the road. It just doesn't make sense. Just stay on the road. Like darting in and out is not smart. So you can see that Paul is staying really close, staying in the draft, because we're in the hills now, and you can save your energy. You're going to need it when you're going uphill if you do. So there he is right there. So I'm waiting till the road goes up. I'm just kind of rolling my gear as always. 36 kilometers an hour, 33 right now. The road's going up right here. That's when I put the force to the pedal. We'd already spoken earlier, so I didn't need to say anything because he had come by and greeted us and said on your left. So I just rolled. I had a feeling that he would join the train, and it turns out that he did. Well, at this point, I don't know. I didn't look behind. I just ramped it up and went a little harder. I'm at the top of zone 3. This road is going up. I don't care about that 0. There you go. Now you can see right here. Look at the angle of the camera. And I'm on it. I'm ramping it up. But because my gear is huge, I'm using my strength in my legs and not so much stressing my aerobic system as much. So we crest this hill. Hill's over pretty much here. Finishing the hill. I shift up. I'm keeping the same feel. So as it begins to go down, I continue to shift up and look at the speeds. Road's going up here. So then I hear him. That's when I know he's on the train. I said, okay, he can talk. I'm going to heat it up some more. And here, I attack. Just kicked it up a little. And once I sit down, I downshift. I didn't realize that he had come around Paul. But Paul just held the same effort. And by then, I was just spinning. Yeah, I look back when that guy honked because he was out in the middle. You know, yeah, you're honking. If you're that worried about passing him, then get out of the lane. You don't need to be passing him in his lane. You worry about where he is, pass in the other lane. They're too stupid. That's what Jesse Ventura said. An average person is an idiot or a moron. I'm driving my car. I don't pass people in their lane. I don't want to hit anybody. You're worried about the guy, pass in the other lane. blowing the horn like what? Wait. He waited in a hurry to come sit at this light, going nowhere in their steel coffins.
Yeah.
Good, how you been doing? Good, good. Come over. Come over, sir.
Yeah, I'm telling him to come over so there was another car so the guy could turn right, but the light changed. So at this point we're cutting through there was a bike path here, so Paul and I, so we can chat. You know, and he took the shoulder, but he's riding against traffic. He ends up coming into the bike path later, but at this point I don't care for this bike path much. There's too many blind spots. People jog and walk their dogs. So we just come through here so we can chat. So at this point here, I had ridden with Paul, got him almost home, and I'm on the way home here after the ride. We ended up riding for quite a while, as usual. It's a beautiful morning. What else is there to do?
Just dropped off Paul, closing out this ride. Beautiful day today. Started on the 17C, which is unseasonably cool for us.
Yeah. At this point, it's a little warm. I mean, we're in the 80s probably, but it's still nice.
Mid-20s of that. Very windy here. I'm heading north into the wind, so got a lot of good clips. But now you've seen them. Hope you got a chance to get some miles in. Go ahead and finish this ride.